Last night, we heard from Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as he accepted the vice presidential nomination. He was a huge hit in this room. It was a very emotional speech, but Walz's family was even more pumped up in the audience, with his son at one point jumping up and appearing to yell, "That's my dad."
Sure looked that way. It was a speech that capped off a star-studded third night of the Democratic convention with remarks from former President Bill Clinton, Oprah, as we mentioned, and many, many more bold-faced names. Nancy Cordes is not far from where we are. She's been here for all of it, and she joins us from the convention floor. Nancy, over to you.
Tony, I know you've had some great coaches over the years, so you know that the job is to motivate the team to get out there and play their best. And aides tell me that that was Walz's goal last night. Yes, he wanted to introduce the country to his philosophy, his background, his politics, but first and foremost, he wanted to fire up the Democratic team for the tough 2.5 months that lie ahead.
It's the honor of my life to accept your nomination for Vice President of the United States.
Standing before a sea of Coach Walz signs, the governor of Minnesota led a raucous pep rally for the woman at the top of the ticket.
Kamala Harris is tough. Kamala Harris is experienced, and Kamala Harris is ready.
Walz, who taught social studies for 20 years, was introduced last night by a former student and neighbor.
Come on out, Scarlets!
Who brought out members of the 1999 Mankato High School football team that Walz coached to a state championship.
Our job for everyone watching is to get in the trenches and do the blocking and tackling.
He touted his progressive wins as governor the last 6 years, enacting paid family and medical leave and free school breakfast and lunch.
So while other states were banning books from their schools, we were banishing hunger from ours.
The veteran, hunter, and dad of 2 laid out how he and Harris would govern in the plain-spoken style that helped propel him to the top of her list.
When we Democrats talk about freedom, we mean the freedom to make a better life for yourself and the people that you love. Freedom to make your own health care decisions. And yeah, your kids' freedom to go to school without worrying about being shot dead in the hall.
Aren't you proud to be a Democrat?
His speech capped a night of high-octane addresses by Democratic luminaries like House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who likened Donald Trump to a bad ex-boyfriend.
He has spent the last 4 years spinning the block, trying to get back into a relationship with the American people. Bro, we broke up with you for a reason.
The crowd erupted again when Oprah made a surprise appearance.
Let us choose honor and let us choose joy. Let's all choose Kamala Harris.
But it was Walz and his family who were at the heart of Night 3, just 2 weeks after he was bumped up to varsity and thrust into the game.
And as the next president of the United States always says, when we fight, when we fight, when we fight, thank you. God bless.
And the last 3 nights have all been building to tonight, the main event, when Kamala Harris will take the stage behind me and tell her story, her coming of age from a middle-class background in Oakland, California, becoming a prosecutor before rising to the highest levels of American politics. Gayle?
Well, Nancy, I can tell you the crowd was very pumped when they were leaving last night. There was still those chants of when we fight, we win as people were exiting the building. But before you go, I know there's some news about another presidential candidate. What can you tell us about that?
That's right. CBS News has learned that Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the independent candidate, is considering ending his campaign, Gayle, as soon as tomorrow, and is considering throwing his support behind Donald Trump. What will that mean for Trump or Harris? It is unclear at this point. It is yet another twist in what has been a very unpredictable race.
I'll say, because recently it was reported that he was trying to have a meeting with Kamala Harris about throwing his support for her. So we shall see. Nancy, thank you very much.